Aber kann das Kazuma sein? I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. So, Kazuma war auf dem Schiff und irgendwas an seinem Koffer, an dem Koffer von Gregson, kann das beweisen. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify it for the court where the trunk with alleged clue is to be found. Where is the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? Okay, hier haben wir... Das war bestimmt sein Schwert, ne? Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for a middle chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. I wonder how it happened. Okay. Öffnen wir mal. Let's have a look inside. Und hier haben wir das. Have you seen this huge gap? Okay. Bla. Das hier. Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk here. It's glinting. Ist das von Karuma dann einfach abgebrochen worden oder was? It looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's stretched and so tightly, I can't remove it. Well, don't cut yourself. You'd better leave it, I think. Ich kann nicht speichern. Als ob. Okay, dann müssen wir es jetzt so probieren.
Got it!
There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here. Like the tip of a blade. A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is a steamed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it, here in this courtroom, for all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Oh no! The tip is broken. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi. Alter, hätte man das am Anfang voraussehen können? Also ganz am Anfang von Adventures, als Kazuma als der beste Freund herausgestellt wurde und alles. Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's a point to you and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes, on 31st October I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. What? Ich meine, hab ich nicht gesagt, dass sein Outfit wie von Assassin's Creed aussieht? Habe ich nicht gesagt vor ein paar Folgen, dass sein Outfit wie Assassin's Creed aussieht, so ein bisschen? Na, Alter! Das ist, weil er einfach ein Assassine ist! Als ob! You mean, you are the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook. You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk. But I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it. We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan. Okay. Inspector Gregson. Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town, and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house? In Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simply enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in the Dream of Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder.
Objection!
But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the Inspector's trunk? Guter Einwand, Barock. I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to silence on the matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. Damn. As you wish, my lord. The great sword Karuma has been entered into the court record. The illustrious blade, passed down through generations of the Azogi clan. The prize sword's tip has a small piece missing. We must take immediate action now, to verify whether Sashiro Jigoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? I agree, that should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... Das stimmt. When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zieks? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order! Order in court! Order! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now. Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst. Oh no, not Judge Jigoku. No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for the Reaper, wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake. My lord? I sincerely hope we are successful. If we are unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, you will face grave difficulties. Court is adjourned for 30 minutes. Okay. Ich glaube, da ist mehr zu seinem Assassin-Dasein wie heißt er? Kazuma jetzt noch zugibt. Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare. I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories. I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. Unheil verkünden. If something awful has happened to Judge Goku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering towards a foregone conclusion. We were to foregone, also zu einem vorschnellen Schluss. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We are out of options. Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear. Of course! The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us. If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears, and as hard as you possibly can. Okay, was hat's damit auf sich? Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? Ich würde sagen pull, oder? Here goes then. I'm going to do it. Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo. No looking back. Heave! Ow! That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Here, my dear fellow. Here. Eyes up. It's the fake doll talking. Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can. Alright then, I pull all my strength into it. Heave! Ow! Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ears off. Das ist ja geil! Telefon quasi. Oder wie heißt es? Ein Funkgerät. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first class cabin area of the SS Grouse, die so ähnlich aussieht wie die First Class Area von der SS Burya, aber ein bisschen abgeändert. The SS Grouse, she left Dover last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France. Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port. Was ein Genie! In order to board this vessel in time. So, you mean, you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name? Alter. Sherlock Sholmes, world famous great detective. Recited to perfection. Well done. You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it. Ow, 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 ow! Miss Susato, gently with this genius ear, please. Oh my, I'm ever so sorry. If I may, Sholmes. Das ist doch Mikotoba. Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse. At Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined that notebook and recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered the recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now. And if we are unable to present any new leads then I'm afraid to say, Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. Sherlock fucking Holmes. Ein grandioser Charakter von vorne bis hinten, kann man nicht anders sagen. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. That would be wonderful. Until later then. Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first. Ow, 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 ow! I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tying my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever was the idea behind making the receiver operate in that way in the first place, Holmes? Why is it used what I know? It's Iris' invention, not mine. Wie großartig. Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Holmes. We have but half that now, before the grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. 9. Wie in der... Wie in dem ersten Fall, wo Sherlock Holmes aufgetaucht ist. War auch First Class Cabin Number 2. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be as plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry looking fellow. Jetzt sind wir Mikotoba, alles klar. Why you are loitering here? Who are you? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Chicken Stroganoff when you see him? Es ist Stroganoff! Das ist ja geil. Und er hat Holmes auf seinem Arm stehen? Great detective. Ha, I don't think so. Chicken Stroganoff. Wait, ist es der Bruder? Der hieß doch irgendwie, hieß doch nicht Chicken. Do you see that, Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo that says Holmes? I must say, with such adoration is flattering. Naturally, it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave, now! How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. And yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Okay, es ist wirklich der Bruder. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. I'm sure it was. Also. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We were looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There's no one with his name on board, but we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Ah, you mean Eastern Man? He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk, he said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Shiro's realized that we are after him, has he? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No! I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikotoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area. Doesn't great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined. And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Holmes. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Mikotoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock. Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man, so, the game is afoot. Okay, examine. What's this stuff here? That's another first-class cabin, and yet its door is completely unguarded. Empty as well. I had a quick look inside earlier. Though I confess, I didn't investigate the wardrobe. There may very well be a young Japanese fellow inside, perspiring merrily. If you're referring to Naruhodo, you know very well that he's currently perspiring merrily in court. Does it not strike you though, Mikoto-wa? Why the man stands guard only in front of his cabin, when both are apparently vacant? Ich finde das aber sehr geil eigentlich, dass es hier zum Origin zurückkehrt von Herlock. Ich nehme an, das ist auch der letzte Part, wo wir Herlock richtig spielen werden. Deswegen finde ich das sehr cool, dass es quasi zu den Wurzeln zurückkommt. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. Leave it alone. No, I think not. That would never work, surely. I need to concoct another distraction. Okay, was gibt's denn für Möglichkeiten? Die Mausefalle hier? This must be a mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow. Noch nicht. Wir gucken uns erstmal weiter um. No, I think not. It would never work, surely. Put another distraction. Okay. Was ist das? Ah, the switch for the electrical lights. Perhaps if I were to turn off the lights, the crewman wouldn't be able to see what we were doing. Noch nicht. I need to conduct another distraction. Here? Nothing much of note here, I'd say. Okay. Okay, das Buch können wir nicht untersuchen. Die Tür hier noch? That's the way back to the deck, but we certainly can't give up on this now. Okay, und das hier? That's a speaking tube for members of the crew to communicate with one another around the ship. If I could just persuade our stocky sailor friend that he needed to use it. Sholmes could unlock the door as he was distracted. The question is, how? Mausefalle vielleicht? Wir probieren es mal aus. Ooh! That sounds like Big Mouth and Trap. Choo! I will bring bucket of water later and put out of misery. I don't like the sound of that. In any case, my dear fellow, that was quite unconvincing. Only Japanese mice make a choo sound. Oh, really, Sholmes? And pray tell, what sound do Russian mice make? PP, naturally, though also quite unconvincing, I readily admit. So go ahead, Mikoto-wa, do a PP this time. No thank you, I'm sure I can come up with an alternative solution. Oh Mann. Die Light Switch dann vielleicht? Ah, das Switch for electrical lights. Flick the switch. Ah, what is happening? Where is light? Now, Sholmes, now! Nobody there. That was a close shave. Quite inaccurate, stumbling so violently in an apparent empty corridor. Do be quiet, Sholmes. I shall have to think of another approach. Dann wahrscheinlich die Alarmglocke, ne? Set it off. Here goes then. Pardon me in advance. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. You, what are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on down there? Seaman Stroganov, report at once. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. It was just stupid trick. No, not by me. By word famous. No, as I told you. Now, Jones. Now. Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance, Mikotoba. In we go. Oh, yes. Okay.